The President of the United States criticizing Joe Biden for wearing a mask in public. Obviously, the pandemic has now killed 206,000 Americans. Our friends back with us, John Avalon, Angela Rye, and Scott Jennings. So, John, what broke through in terms of the pandemic? And to an extent, Americans know what's going on in the pandemic. I don't know what needs to break through, but what do you think they heard in terms of this?
The fact there could be such a debate and Donald Trump doubling down, nonsensically throwing out numbers, saying if Biden was in charge, the number would be 2 million. I mean, there are a million deaths in the world right now. But Biden really took it to him hard and also spoke to the American people who've suffered loss, which highlights kind of that empathy gap. The president doubled down on tried to make the debate about China. He tried to sort of say no one had been harmed at his rallies to date. Someone tell that to Herman Cain's family. But this really was such a clear contrast because Biden knows this is an issue he can hammer the president on with credibility, and the president was just trying to pick up anything lying on the ground to try to beat him back with.
I thought there was a telling moment, Scott, where President Trump tried to claim that he was joking about telling Americans.
That was a good one.
Telling Americans to inject disinfectant. All the medical emergency hotlines that lit up after that, they didn't think that he was joking. And nobody who watched that press conference ever has thought that he was joking. That tells you something, I think, Scott. I'm not sure exactly what, other than the president must be embarrassed.
But he really struggled in the coronavirus portion of the debate, not just on litigating his actions to date, but he failed, I think, Allison, to make the pivot. Where he's going to have better success is in talking about who's got a better plan for recovery in the future. So Trump had trouble with his, job approval on this, which is low, and his actions, and then he didn't make the pivot. For Biden, who I thought probably won the exchange, I do think his ticket is still playing with fire when it comes to discussing this vaccine. I think the vaccine's been politicized. I think he and Harris have made, frankly, dangerous and inappropriate statements, casting doubt on the vaccine. And I think that whole conversation still makes me very uncomfortable.
Just to challenge you on
when
that,
Americans are going to need to trust it when it comes out.
Yeah, of course. But aren't they challenging the president's judgment on the vaccine? Yes. I mean, they keep saying we trust Dr. Fauci.
Yes. Look, here's the deal. To borrow a phrase, when this election is over, if Donald Trump loses and a vaccine comes out, it will have largely been developed during the Trump presidency. I don't think you should leave people with the impression that the winner of an election should determine whether you should take a medicine or not in the middle of a deadly pandemic. So, I'm not here to defend Donald Trump on the coronavirus so far. I am here to say at some point we'll have medicine. It'll be developed by very smart doctors and scientists, and we need to just trust that.
Hey, Angela, if I can change the subject briefly, because I am getting a little bit of a hint of this from you. You, of course, are a Democrat and are supporting the Democratic ticket. You've not been a boisterous Joe Biden supporter from the beginning of the political process here. What would you have liked to have seen that you didn't see from Joe Biden last night? Should he have handled it differently, or did it make sense to try to play a reverse rope-a-dope and just let the president go out and debase the moment?
Yeah, that is very generous of you. I definitely haven't been the most robust Biden supporter. I believe that he is a very decent person, and he showed up in decency and civility on the debate stage, as you would ordinarily expect a presidential candidate to do. I think that Joe Biden, again, I'm acknowledging my own shortcomings here. To me, the only thing that Joe Biden could have done that would have made me happy and actually be a very robust Biden supporter, like ready to go knock on doors, is swinging at Donald Trump yesterday. I think the other issue that we have, though, knowing that that's not a good idea since he has Secret Service protection, is that he really has to swing back, like at least verbally. Like you have to spar with a bully. The moment that you strike a bully back, the bully backs down, at least for a moment. And I think that Joe Biden thought the normal kind of sly grin and that normal kind of just little jab under his breath was sufficient, and it was not. right? Joe Biden had so many moments where he was under Donald Trump's skin talking about the COVID response. That moment where he looked straight to camera and he said, "You might be an American sitting across from an empty chair talking about the coronavirus." It was powerful. He needed more moments like that. I certainly acknowledge that he couldn't get them out, right? Because you had the interrupter in chief across at the other podium. But the reality of it is Joe Biden let a Russia attack against his son stand against the president who is there because of Russian interference. It's like, how do you let that slide? So there needed to be something, some types of comebacks. I don't know if they weren't doing, sparring and debate prep, but that certainly is what needed to happen. He didn't look like he was ready for the fight of what this election will be or what it really is. People are already voting. That is key for his success. People need to be excited about what we have. Joe Biden is what we have.
You know what? That raises a ton more questions. We have a lot more to discuss. Luckily, we got a lot more time because this is
we have a 10-hour show.
This is a special edition of New Day that will take us into 2026. We thank you all for being here with us this morning.
Good one, guys.